everyone, and welcome back to our podcast on anxiety. I am very excited to continue. This is session 5, and as always, please remember that I'm a quantum life consultant. I'm not a medically trained doctor. If you are displaying any worrying symptoms, please visit a doctor to assist you. This podcast is not for diagnosing or for treatment. Okay, let's get started. I'm very excited to quickly do the recap. Okay, so we said in session 1, 2, 3, and 4 that anxiety is a response to what? Your environment, stress, lifestyle, epigenetic markers. What does the response look like? Fight, flight, or freeze. And if you stayed in a prolonged time of fight, flight, and freeze, you will then have what we call the amygdala hijack, which in turn will turn into free-flowing anxiety. Okay, and we also looked, where does anxiety come from? It comes from the womb, babies, toddlers, children, and also in grown-ups. We looked at anxious spirals and how to help yourself out of an anxious spiral, as well as how do you remain calm before the anxiety comes. Okay, so we're going to look today, what is the job of the parent or the guardian in helping children? So many people ask me, but what can I do as a parent? So all of the above things that we said, talk them through it, find out what the triggers are, etc., etc. But then also your job as a parent is to help your child cope with distress, cope with the environment, cope with the lifestyle, by trying to give them a good lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle, trying to take out stress factors out of their environment, but obviously not to take them out of the environments. You cannot take a person out of every environment that will possibly cause them stress. So you need to, we spoke about small controlled exposures to triggers so that you can manage the anxiety, manage the problem. You cannot act on your child's behalf. As a grown-up, you cannot ask your parents to do everything for you. You cannot ask your parents to help you with this, to do that. My boss was really mean to me. Can you do something? Your parents can't do anything in those situations. So it's better to teach children how to cope, how to manage, than protecting them against everything. This does not mean that when someone is bullying your child, you do nothing. You first try and help your child to cope with the situation, to stand up for themselves, to say something, to maybe talk to a teacher or to an authority figure. And if that then doesn't work, then definitely go to the principal, sort this out. So it's not acting at all. It's just making sure that the things that you are doing will not make them dependent on you for their survival of stress situations. And then the last thing, if you have either you maybe don't have the time or you don't spend the bulk of the day with your child, and so you're unable to intervene as you would like to, or if the interventions that you've been doing is not helping and your child is struggling or you are struggling to do day-to-day activities, then is your moment and your time. Please seek professional help. Okay, so what we usually do with muscle testing when someone comes and says, listen, my child has anxiety, or I have anxiety, these are normally the things that we do and that we work with. So first of all, if the person identifies that it comes from the bloodline or from the family, then we will work in removing the epigenetic marker, work in removing the marker on the DNA that is causing the anxiety and the pattern of anxiety on the DNA. We will work with old traumas and old emotions that are connected to those traumas. It's very important that you must know that in order for you to be helped through muscle testing, you do not have to speak about your trauma. You do not have to relive your trauma. You don't have to discuss it at all. The body will lead us to it. We find it and we release it. The next thing that we do is we find where the anxiety is sitting in the body and we release it from that space, and also find all the underlying causes and release that. Subconscious patterns, we'll get to it later when we speak about the soul, but we remove subconscious patterns. Subconscious patterns means that when we are consistently exposed to something, it forms a subconscious pattern. So I want to explain it like this. Let's say you just started driving your car. So in South Africa, the legal age for a learner driver is 17. So let's say you're 17, you are now learning to drive the car. You get anxious for everything. You have to look to change the gears. The sound must be off. in the car, no music, everyone must be quiet. You are concentrating because you are learning on a new pattern. But the longer you drive and the older you get, you might drive from home to work and you stop at work. I know this has happened to me, and I'll think to myself, how did I get here? Like, did I have green lights? Did I have red lights? What was the speed that I drove? What road did I use to get here? And so, because it was repeated many times, the action of driving was repeated many times, it becomes a subconscious pattern. And so, unfortunately, your subconscious mind is not able to distinguish between positive patterns and negative patterns. It only knows repetition. And so, whatever is repeated will get stuck in the subconscious mind. And so, you might be accused of doing A, B, and C, and you'll think to yourself, but where does this come from? Why do people keep saying this to me? This is not my intention. It's because you're acting out of an old subconscious pattern. I just spoke with someone this week who's consistently been humiliated and bullied by older women, mothers of clients or friends that are constantly bringing up things towards her that she feels like, why are you doing this? Why are you saying, why are you bullying me? And so I actually said to her, we must look, because you must have a subconscious pattern, or we call them subconscious communications, as communicating to other people's subconscious mind, abuse me, because that is what people are doing to her. They are emotionally badgering and abusing her. And so this is something that we need to find and get rid of. The next thing is we need to find a place of gratitude and thankfulness. Whenever things feel out of your control, whenever things feel as if you are unable to cope, the best way to repel negative emotions out of the body is to sit and really think and meditate and resonate and focus on things that have gone right. Gratitude, to be thankful for those things that have gone right. I listened to a guy speak the other day, and he said that, do you ever wake up and say thank you for the things that did not go wrong, that you aren't even aware of? And it was just like mind blowing, right? We need to be grateful for the things that's going right, and to focus on that. Remove the triggers. And by removing the triggers, I do not mean that removing the person out of the places of triggers. Those are short-term ideas, but you need to understand why something triggers you. And then we need to deal with the trauma as to why this is triggering you, and remove it as a trigger trauma out of the body. The next thing is we'll help the body to recover from the unhealthy patterns. And I mean, with regards to the brain not being able to concentrate, the gut and the digestive system not working, helping the immune system to function well again. So we can work with the body with that, remove the trapped emotions that are sitting in those organs that are hindering those organs from fulfilling their function in the body. And obviously, one of the most important things is to help the amygdala to restore itself, so that the amygdala hijack does no longer take place. And then life coaching and counseling, if it's necessary. Many people are struggling to get out of those anxious patterns, and they might need some life coaching and counseling. Okay, so have you ever heard of the saying, you are what you eat? And are you going to ask me, Nathaniel, what are you going on about this eating? What does eating have to do with anxiety? I'm anxious. I'm not hungry. Okay, and so I want to focus on, for the person that believes in what you feed your body, what you feed your soul, what you feed your spirit is important. This is what you need to understand. There's this saying, Tannie Leonie Bester, she's been friends with us for so long, and she always says, what you focus on, you will grow. And so whatever your focus is for the body, that will grow. Your body is unable to see whether it's positive or negative. It just sees that this is what I'm focusing on, so it will grow that thing. So for your body, if you are growing unhealthy habits, focusing on unhealthy habits and how bad it's going, and you don't have time to make healthy food, you will just eat the junk food, then that is what your body will crave as well. And this can be applied to the body, the soul, and the spirit. Now, a lot of people ask, what's the difference between the spirit and the soul? The soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions. The spirit is a part of your being. All three of these things are part of your beings, but just so that you understand the difference between the two. Okay, so we're going to first of all look at feeding the body for anxiety. Okay, so I did a podcast with Frans Alpert, that I think I mentioned it earlier, on restoring the gut. And if you are living a life where you think, okay, we are consuming as a family a lot of carbs, a lot of processed food, a lot of takeaways, a lot of soft drinks, or cool drinks or fizzy drinks. We are consuming a lot of alcohol. We are consuming a lot of bread and sugar. Then you need to go listen to those two podcasts that's on Health 101. It's very important because 90% of your anxiety and your tiredness and your overwhelm can be fixed, not with eating less, but just eating correct. Okay, so it's not about eating less, it's about what you choose to put into your gut, and that your gut biomes, your microbiomes, and that live in the gut, and the microbiomes in the gut needs to be healthy in order for your mental health to be functioning well. And Franzal touches on it quickly. She speaks about how serotonin is reabsorbed in the gut. And so I don't know if you know that if your serotonin is low, you'll probably struggle with depression. And so we see there's a direct correlation between our mental health and our gut. The next thing is we did speak about this a bit earlier, what you eat, right? What to avoid, what not to avoid. Try and eat raw. Try and eat unprocessed. Try and eat preservative free. Try and eat GMO free. Try and eat colorants and flavorants free. Any breakfast cereals that has all of these lists of nutrients in it, those are added nutrients. They come out of a lab. They do not come out of the soil. So try and get things and eat things that come out of the ground. Okay, then sleep is very important. The amount of sleep that you put into your body will also affect what you want to eat. The more tired you are, the more times you'll want to eat. That's the one thing. The next thing is your body needs to recuperate, especially if you are in stressful situations. You need to give your body that time to sleep, to rest, to recuperate, so that it can carry on. And then try and limit your stress. Try and limit the pressure that you place upon yourself to be everything for everyone and to meet everyone's expectations. It's impossible to do that. Also, don't, Grant Luton always says that your expectations are preset disappointments. It's better to rather not expect that much. Work very hard, have passion, do your best. Don't try and get rid of the expectations. Okay, and so when we work in the body with muscle testing, where we will look at where in the body is the imbalances due to the anxiety. So we'll look for where is the trauma sitting in the body, because remember, the body keeps track, the body remembers. And so we need to work in the body. We need to get the trauma that's stuck in the body, the anxiety that's stuck in the body, out of the body. We can test and see what supplements or superfoods you might need that can help your body to recuperate, that can help you to deal with stress, that can help restore the gut. We can have a look at where in the body the trauma is stuck. We can fix the underlying causes in the body that is causing you to react out of your trauma, that's causing you to be in those patterns and those subconscious patterns of anxiety. And we can find the root of the stress or the trauma that's stuck in the body. The next thing that we look at is we look at what do we feed our souls, okay? Your mind, will, and your emotions. What thoughts are you allowing into your mind? Again, what you focus on, you will grow. And so if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you think is, oh, another day. Okay, let's just do this and get this over with. That's how you start your day. That's the mentality that you'll have for the rest of your day. And so the thoughts that you entertain, if you think, oh, this one said this, and I think that actually meant this and this and this and this and this, and you start thinking about those things, and then you get anxious because you realize there's going to be a fight, and all of these things are going through your head. What we entertain in our minds are very, very important. I recently watched an interview with Serena and Venus Williams. And their parents raised them to not have doubt, to not have fear. They don't entertain those thoughts. They don't entertain the idea that I'm not good enough, that I cannot do this, that I am overwhelmed. They keep, and they were raised. So it's not something that their parents realized, oh goodness me, we had a little bit of a mess up, we need to fix this. The kids were raised like that from day one, to have faith, to entertain positive thoughts. If you do not quit, don't, or if you have disappointment, to not blame yourself, to say, if I did my best, I will continue fighting, I'll continue giving my best, I just need to do my best, I cannot give up. And so if you actually listen to interviews with them, they are quite confident, they are quite assured of themselves, but it's rooted in a mindset that the family chose. It's not something that was enforced upon Serena and on Venus. They were trained as a family to think like this, and they're a tight-knit family that's supportive, and their mental health has been a concern since the day they were born. And they are highly successful people, not because of a quick fix, but because day in and day out, their mindsets were focused on the positive things, on the things they are doing well. And they just, and that gave in effect them a very strong will. They have a strong will. And so what are you willing yourself to be? Are you willing yourself to just survive? Because that's not a life. Are you willing yourself to be the best version of yourself? Are you willing yourself to blame your circumstances? Because that will not fix the problem. The only thing you can do is you can look in yourself and say, this is a bad pattern and I'm entertaining it. I need to change my will with regards to this thing. I actually had a client that was in the hospital who's, it was quite an elderly lady, and her husband had recently died. And when I tested her, she went into a coma. And when I tested her, the family asked, please will you test? I kept finding a no will to live, a no will to live, and a no will to live. And the family said, it's fine, we'll accept this, that my mother maybe does not want to live anymore because my dad's not here. And it wasn't long after that the mother did pass on. Now, these people were in their 80s. I mean, the family accepted it. But you see how strong her will was, that she just didn't have the will to live without her husband. And then the last thing is your emotions. A lot of the times what we feel is our experience, but it's not the truth. And so we need to be coached and trained into questioning our emotions, into questioning if this experience that I'm having, is this experience only based on my emotions, what I want to take from this, what my selfish view of the situation is, or is it the truth? And to focus your entire mind on what is the truth. If you go do something outside and you're scared that the lightning will strike you, you need to be realistic. Will it happen if there are no clouds? Probably not. So then your emotion and your fear is invalid. And so you need to be coached and trained into that. And so when we look into the soul with muscle testing, we usually work with the subconscious mind and subconscious patterns. Your will, your emotions, those things get stuck in the subconscious mind because we repeat it often. Okay, so we look at things that we call idea allergies or thought intolerances. Recently, I saw someone that said, listen, I'm really struggling financially. It's causing a lot of stress for me. Can you please help me out? We tested a little bit, and the first thing that the body led us to was an idea allergy. And so we have charts for that. So I tested where more or less is the idea allergy. We found it, and it said that I do not trust money. I do not like spending money. I fear money. I fear being around money. I fear having a lot of money. And so we see her subconscious mind is actually the thing that's self-sabotaging her from reaching the financial freedom that she, in her conscious mind, is yearning for. Okay, subconscious communications. I mentioned this earlier with a friend or the client that the women keep attacking her. The women keep having problems with her, and she realizes, I have a woman problem, especially mothers. They gun for me in the workplace. Inner vows are things where we say, I will never do this again. I will never allow you to do this to me again. or where you say, I will always be financially stable. I will always this. And so if something happens that changes your inner vow that you made that's now stuck in your subconscious mind, your body will react. So let's say, for example, let's use an example where you are a teenager, you were in a relationship and it's broken off, and you say, I will never trust another man with my heart again. Now you get married, your husband seeks intimacy from you, your husband seeks to know your heart, and you seek to give him your heart, but you are unable to do it. The reason for that is your inner vow is stuck in your subconscious mind and is prohibiting you from freely sharing your heart. Memorials in the mind, subconscious memorials are things where they're usually linked to our traumas, and we revisit those traumas in our subconscious mind and we react out of those traumas. And then positive emotions that the soul needs, we also test for that. And something that I didn't put in here is heart wall sessions. Your trauma goes and it sits in a heart wall. If you're unsure about the heart wall, go to the session tab on the website and you'll see what a heart wall looks like, what we do in heart wall sessions. That is also part of the soul. Okay, the next session we will be looking at the spirit and what does the spiritual body encompass in all of this. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate it so much, and you must have a lovely day. I see you next time.